Hey everyone, what's up? Trying to get in the position here. There we go. Better position. You know what a week it's been if you follow WWE in wrestling in general. Because it seems WWE right now is at a point over this past week to where pretty much everything people have said about them, being petty about certain things, being childish, have somewhat come to light. First of all, they send a cease and desist order to the Bullet Club, most of the Young Bucks, for the Too Sweet gesture. Now, someone that was infamous for using Too Sweet all the time, Kevin Nash, said there shouldn't be no problem with that. You know, the Young Bucks using Too Sweet. But yeah, WWE sent a cease and desist order. In typical Young Buck fashion, the Young Bucks didn't really take it too seriously, although it seems they have stopped doing certain gestures, I believe out of the fact that this is indeed probably something they should take seriously, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, that wasn't the only thing. You see, this all occurred when the Bullet Club, about a week or two ago, did an invasion outside of Raw. Just like DX did an invasion of Nitro, the Bullet Club did the same thing to Monday Night Raw. And this is where the cease and desist orders came into play, right afterwards. But if that wasn't enough, one of the head writers, or at least one of the creative writers at WWE, decided there's no harm, no foul if they took a picture with the Bullet Club. You know, with the Young Bucks and Marty Scurll and all of them. So Jimmy Jacobs, who's been known for his work in Ring of Honor, was infamously, excuse me for mispronouncing that, easy for me to say, infamously known for his time as a leader, as a member, if not the leader, of the Age of the Fall. Among other iconic moments in Ring of Honor, as well as making appearances, I believe, for TNA at times, PWG, and all over the world and other indie feds. Well, Jimmy Jacobs, about a little over a year ago, if not more so, was hired on as a creative writer and creative consultant for WWE. Now, some of the ideas that he had come up with and suggested range from things like Reigns and Strowman to several others. I can't really name a few, but I'm pretty sure they'd be noticeable if you look. Anyway, long story short, Jimmy Jacobs thought, hey, no harm, no foul. I'll go out there, take a picture with my buddies, post it on my Instagram. No harm, no foul. I'm not siding with them. I'm not encouraging this or egging it on. I'm just taking a casual picture with my buddies because I don't see them every now and then. Well, WWE apparently took exception to this, and because of this, fired Jimmy Jacobs. And Jimmy Jacobs made this known through his Instagram and his Twitter by basically saying that he had heard that someone in WWE, some unfortunate soul or some former now writer of WWE got fired. And he posted a picture of himself. So, a lot of people took to this and have pretty much said that this is kind of, pretty much a lot of fans, WWE and overall wrestling fans and sports entertainment fans, what have you, took to this and pretty much called WWE out about it because of the fact that this is petty on their part. Just like the whole cease and desist order with the Young Bucks, to the Young Bucks and the Bullet Club for Too Sweet and all the other similar DX and NWO gestures was petty. And what this tells me about WWE, folks, is they're not dumb. They may not come out and acknowledge it fully. I mean, they may mention where a superstar has been, just so, you know, people may go back and check them out there. Or may try to, or at least in some ways, make peace with that organization to see maybe if they can do a working relationship with them down the line. But WWE isn't dumb. They are not dumb, and they realize that the Young Bucks, and the Bullet Club are one of the hottest things going today. That one of the former stars in their company, one of the former mega stars, if you will, sort of upper mid card, lower main event star in Cody Rhodes, is now an integral part, if not a major part, of the Bullet Club. So WWE realizes what's going on here. They see what's going on because they also know the Bullet Club, whatever company they're associated with, whether it be New Japan, Ring of Honor, PWG, WCPW, they see the threat. They may not come out and publicly state, oh, we're at war with these promotions. No, they know the threat. They know what they're going up against, and they don't need any of their associates in their minds, like a Jimmy Jacobs, fraternizing, or even, if it's harmless, taking pictures with the enemy. Because in their minds, that's a public relations nightmare, because you're pretty much, as an associate with WWE, either creatively or even as an in-ring performer, you're pretty much, even with a casual, harmless photo op with your friends who work outside the company or part of this infamous group, you're pretty much encouraging people to turn away from WWE and check these guys out instead. That's what goes on in their minds. That publicly, from a public relations nightmare, not nightmare, but perspective, you're pretty much saying, yeah, I work for WWE, but you know what? I'd rather you folks go follow these guys. That's why they basically fired Jimmy Jacobs. Not because of the fact that he didn't mean no harm, no foul, and they probably know that. WWE probably knows this, but they did it because pretty much Jimmy Jacobs, who they know the whole world has come to terms as being one of the behind-the-scenes creative writers for the company, is pretty much in their eyes saying, pay attention to the Bullet Club more than WWE. And they don't like that. They don't like that. They don't like the fact that one of their own is pretty much saying, go and support the Bullet Club over WWE. They don't like it. Because it's an old mentality, but it's true. You either are with them or you're against them. And pretty much Jimmy Jacobs doing this in their eyes says he's against them. So, do I think it's petty on WWE's part to have fired Jacobs over that? Absolutely. There's no harm, no foul. I mean, I used to work for Food-for-Less in Lawrence, Kansas. Do you think some of the pictures I've taken with my coworkers there are going to get my fellow associates and coworkers at Walmart upset that, oh, I took a picture with the enemy? No. No, it's not. It's not. Do you think someone from Target that comes in wearing their uniform and they're shopping at Walmart and they decide to take a picture with their buddy at Walmart and that gets posted on social media, do you think the people at Target are going to say, well, we don't want you anymore, you're associated with Walmart? No. Because you know why? It's no harm, no foul. And pretty much WWE has to wake up and realize there was no harm, no foul. But another reason they did it too is because of the fact that WWE still, and I think anybody realizes this, WWE did this because of the fact that they don't own the Bullet Club. That's right. They don't have the trademark to Bullet Club. They have the founding members of Bullet Club. They have a play on words with the Balor Club. They have a play on words with just the club. But they don't have officially the Bullet Club. And if they don't own it, and you try to associate yourself with it, you're pretty much treading on thin ice in their opinion. That's what you're doing. And they don't like it. They don't like it, and they probably never will like it unless they own it. So that kind of tells you WWE's standpoint. That if they don't own it, but you associate with it, you're treading on thin ice, and you're pretty much 1 or 2 feet out the door. And in the case of Jimmy Jacobs, that's exactly what happened. Because like I said, in their perspective, WWE pretty much saw Jimmy Jacobs encouraging people to pay attention to Bullet Club and the promotions associated with Bullet Club and not WWE. And they didn't like that. Now, the other news that came out recently in the past 48 hours or so is Neville. Neville supposedly has walked out of WWE. He basically pulled what many people consider a Stone Cold Steve Austin and a CM Punk. Basically, from what Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez, and everybody else has been reporting on for the past couple of days, for the past 2.5 days, Neville showed up on Raw, found out that he was going to be in the main event against Enzo in a Cruiserweight Lumberjack non-title match, but that he was going to job to Enzo. He was going to basically put Enzo over in the main event. Obviously, this did not sit well with Neville, and he decided to walk. He decided to leave. It's like, This is basically Neville looked at this and pretty much said, "This is BS. I'm out of here." Now, there's no confirmation whether or not he is totally done with the company. Sometimes when a wrestler does this, or even anybody does this in any kind of business, when they decide to take a walk for the day, decide, hey, I need to call in, or I decide I can't work today kind of deal, they basically need time to cool off. They need to let cooler heads prevail. Now, the only thing I can assume of is Neville legitimately does not like the fact that he would have to put someone like Enzo over in the main event without any, how do I say this, without getting something in return. I'm pretty sure he wasn't happy with the fact that he had to drop the title, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't happy with the fact that he'd have to job again. So, yeah, pretty much Neville, I think this is legitimate, very real. I think Neville just doesn't like Enzo being in the same division that he's in. I mean, I'm sure Adrian Neville, Pac, whatever you want to call him, has no problem being part of 205 Live or being part of the Cruiserweight division. But I think what really put him over the edge is the fact that they said, yeah, it's a lumberjack match, but you're still going to put Enzo over. And he didn't like that. So that's why they pretty much changed it to where Kalisto, on Eddie Guerrero's birthday, was dedicating the match to Eddie and Rey Mysterio, and Kalisto went over Enzo for the Cruiserweight Championship. Now, I don't know if they did this because of that, and it's a Hispanic Heritage Month. I don't know if they did it because of that. I don't know if maybe they put the belt on Kalisto to kind of smooth things out with Neville and say, hey, look, we took the belt off Enzo now, so that stipulation that he always talked about is now null and void. You can get a shot again. I don't know. No one really knows what's going on. Hopefully cooler heads prevail, because Neville is a good worker, but I can understand frustrations from him, because there are times, me and my co-workers at my job, we'll go to work every day, but there are sometimes we will do so much for that company, either as cashiers, floor associates, department managers, you name it, that sometimes as much as we do for that company in those positions, we just feel overwhelmed. Like, we ask ourselves, why are we even there when we're getting nothing in return? And to me, I think that's how Neville feels. He feels like, why am I doing this? Why am I putting this guy over if I'm not going to get nothing in return? My suggestion is, if they do bring Neville back, if they're able to smooth things out with him, that they give him the proper respect and push he deserves. My thought is this: bring him back at TLC. Let him take a few weeks off. If you can work something out, let cooler heads prevail. Let him come back. Let him cost Enzo the championship. Thus, you get Enzo away from the Cruiserweight title, maybe away from 205 Live in the Cruiserweight division, and then you can focus back on what the Cruiserweight division 205 Live is about and could be. Again, I'm not in favor of somebody walking out and refusing to do a job. I'm not in favor of that, but sometimes you just get to a certain boiling point in your life too. You're like, that's it, I've had it. Like I said, I use my job as an example. There are several people that have been with this company that I worked for several years, have transferred from one store to the Patterson store because it's more local, or it's right there in their hometown, and they don't have to travel to Modesto or Los Banos or Turlock. And they've been with the company for many years, and there comes to a point where they're like, enough's enough, I've had it. and they just leave. And sometimes there are people that come on board for about a year or two, and they realize they feel, hey, we're not going anywhere, and they just decide to leave. They decide to walk. You know, look, I'm not saying that I haven't accomplished anything at my job. The thing is, I still have the firm belief that someday I'm going to get an opportunity to either be a backup customer service manager, a CSM, or maybe work on the floor as a possible department manager in training, either in home lines or toys or electronics or whatever. But I'm not at that point to where I'm going to walk. You know, do I get frustrated? Just like anybody else at my job, I do. But I'm not going to walk. But I can understand, again, where Neville is coming from. You know, he probably had certain things promised to him. You know, he probably was promised a shot at being champion again. But he didn't expect all this to go down with Enzo. And something tells me there has to be some kind of true legitimacy with Enzo. Some true legitimate heat with Enzo in the cruiserweights, because to me, I don't think Neville would be the kind to really walk out unless something really bothered him. And I think, in a sense, he's one of those people in that division that he doesn't mind putting it over, putting it on the map, and being a strong champion if he needs to be. But I think But I think when it was announced that Enzo was going to go over to that roster and be part of it, I think that's what kind of was like the tipping point. It's like, that was kind of like the tipping point to Neville, like, oh great, now I got to deal with this. And you know, that's why I think pretty much he decided on Monday to just take a walk, probably let some take a walk and let himself clear his mind, kind of reevaluate where his career is with this company, and hopefully maybe let cooler heads prevail, and again, hopefully things work out and he'll be back soon. But yeah, this is basically what happens with this company, apparently. This company just doesn't realize the value that they got with certain superstars. You know, a lot of people have said that Neville should be out of the Cruiserweight division now. He should be challenging maybe for the Intercontinental Championship. And perhaps that will happen. Maybe they'll work something out to where he'll be a mysterious challenger for The Miz, and he'll knock The Miz off for the Intercontinental title. Maybe that'll be the payoff. Like, hey, you come back, and we'll let you beat The Miz on Raw for the championship. Who knows? But yeah, you know, my opinion is I don't think Neville's going to be gone forever. If he is, you know, all I can say is I enjoyed his run like anybody else in WWE. I think he had his best run as a heel and as the king of the Cruiserweights. I really think it really cemented him as a top guy, if you will, for that company, potentially. But if this is it, thank him all. I think we should thank him all for the memories and wish him the best of luck on wherever he goes. And let's just see what happens. But hopefully cooler heads prevail. And hopefully Neville will be back around TLC. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's just my take on everything going on with WWE. But it seems WWE is putting their foot in their mouth over the past week. So let me know what you guys think down below.